Hey everybody. So today I wanted to go over a few basic and some not basic things that I really recommend you guys know how to do on ModelSim, just because it'll really speed up your simulation time, make it more effective, and make it a lot easier for us TAs to help you with it if you can set it up in a nice way. So to start off, I'll be using a module that you guys probably won't recognize. The names of the signals don't really matter. What's more important is that you understand what I'm doing with them and how I'm using them to make it easier to simulate my modules. So to start off, you should be familiar with this screen. Pretty basic. You already know that you can just drag stuff over to bring it in. One thing a lot of people don't know though, is that if you click on a signal and then shift click on a signal elsewhere, it'll select every single signal between the two signals you've selected. So you can just drag this out just like so, and save you a few seconds there. I know it's not a lot of time, but once you're dealing with a lot of signals and you keep having to bring them over and over, this could be a bit of a time saver, as well as make you a little less frustrated. Another thing I see a lot of people not doing is that they leave their signals like this. It's practically illegible, and they have to modify this window here to try to see what's going on, having less space in general. So what I suggest is hitting this little button here, bottom left, that says toggle leaf names. If you hit that, it's going to replace each of the names with exactly what you named it within your module. Pretty neat, pretty easy to do. And it just makes reading this so much easier. Now, why don't we go ahead and run this? So run all. Something you should already know how to do is rather than sliding the slider back and forth trying to track signals, you can just zoom in, zoom out, or zoom full, which will bring you to the largest possible window that includes all of the signals. And then here you can see that my main signals are relevant here, so I can press here and zoom in to get a closer look there. Now, one thing I also really recommend doing is that whenever you have a certain counter or a variable that does math, rather than having it on the basic Radix, which is binary, and Radix is just the way the number is represented. So the default version is binary. And if you look at that, you can tell it's pretty much illegible. I have to zoom in further to even make out what it's saying because I have such big word lengths. So rather than doing that, what I want to do is set the radix to something more useful. Often that can be hexadecimal. Rarely is it octal, but often it's decimal or unsigned. Unsigned is just positive numbers, and of course in decimal. And then decimal is positive and negative numbers. So negative numbers would be 2's complement. I normally use unsigned, and in this program I used unsigned. So there's those. Radix is super useful when you have counters or you're doing math with certain numbers. Now, those are pretty useful and they can help you a little bit, but the biggest thing that I'm not seeing in simulations is digging deeper into the simulation. So this is a system level simulation of sorts. And these signals, while they're useful, they don't really help me very much if something is broken within them. So one thing you can do is if you hit the plus sign to the left of the DUT that you have, it'll open up every single module that you have instantiated within the DUT. And if you click on one of them, you can see the signals within it and relevant to it. That's not all though, you can keep going deeper. So this ALU has within it a second unit, the floating point unit, and within that, several more units. And you can go into every single one of these units and drag out the signals there. And one thing I really recommend when people have an issue in their simulation is to find the first instance where it fails and then trace the signal back to where it isn't failing. So exactly where you'd expect a bit to be flipped or not flipped, find where that is, and it'll lead you to where the issue usually is. Doing this though often means that you're dealing with a lot of code or a lot of signals, sorry. So one thing I really recommend to people is when they're dragging all this code in, what you can do is if you select all the signals relevant to a single module, if you right click and hit group, you can name it. And in this case, this is a mixed exponent. I can hit OK, and this groups them together under a single folder. And right now this isn't run, I'd have to rerun it, but whenever I want to see these signals, I can expand the folder, and whenever I don't want to see them, I can minimize them. So if we go ahead and restart the simulation, you'll see that they're folded in, so I can't see them, but if I press this, they get folded out, and you can see that they're being used here. But what this inevitably leads to is a second issue, which is that you're dealing with a lot of a lot of signals, and having to drag them out and set up the radix for each and every single one of them constantly is kind of exhausting and takes too long, so it might not be worth it. But there's an easy fix to that as well. If you click into this wave window and hit File and Save Format, and then name the file to whatever you like. I'll have ALU_wave. Sure, that's fine. I'll be replacing a file. But what this does is that whenever you rerun simulation or lose your signals for some reason, what you can do is in this transcript window, just type do, and then the name of that waveform, and it'll all come right back. So if I change this in some way, maybe add stuff from the register file, doesn't super matter. We'll group that register file, and then we can save this and save it exactly the same way. Click here, save format, let's overwrite that same one. And then if we delete it all, we can easily bring it back with the name of the WAV file. That easy. So if you're digging in the simulation a lot, having to go back to it often, I really recommend doing this. It will save you a ton of time, probably keep you from frying your brain a little bit. And it's overall useful as your designs get bigger. So yeah, that's basically everything I wanted to show you. There's of course other knobs and things you can do in ModelSim that are probably useful, but for the most part, this will get you as far as this class needs you to go. Thank you.